Kai and Rice, maybe. But
Zinni Jesus?
outside of that, it was just Jesus. Like, it was just like in that
Yeah,
window, I
true.
think,
Zinni came in pre-season.
yeah, like to me, like this is completely different. He's having to actually do backup positions, backup goalkeeper, another center back, a DM. Also, Zubimindi was pretty much already done, finishing that up, and then 2 or 3 attackers. Edu would be Edu would be crumpled up in a corner trying to figure this shit out,
He
so
probably went for Douglas. I reckon if Eddie was still here, we would have went for
I'm
Douglas
so
Luiz.
sick of that name, man. That's like that is just so circa 2022,
I
he
love
like,
him, you know.
I know you would. You like him. You like
I think he
him.
will cook. I can't lie. Not as a regular and like just in the mix. But
Just done.
he does look shit at Juventus, though. I'm not gonna lie. Looks damaged.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to him, but didn't he lose his girl too? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he's went through hell in the last year or so. But yeah, I mean, listen, proof will be in the pudding. Let's see where we are. Like another kind of like checkpoint when we get to the Asia tour where we're at. I think that's like the huge checkpoint of like, what do we have done by that point? But if we were to have Jokeris done and maybe this is gonna be this child, I mean, maybe him too, then we're in a good position.
You
I just
felt sick. You didn't even believe when you said that with my man.
I just I don't get it. I really am like so confused more than anything because I'm just like, what do they see in him that I don't see? Now I did see Arsenal fans, you need to find some shame immediately. This whole Arteta's trying to do a Sane Rafinha. Stop immediately. This is not a Sane Rafinha thing. It's come on. Let's
That's elite copium and hopium. Elite.
I'm not even I love a little bit of copium, but even I would not partake in that
Man, that's
nonsense.
getting the whole jar and just do it moving mad.
Like, come on, this guy. I watched the Arsenal Vision scouting report on him, and there wasn't a single clean action.
I can't lie. I don't want to write him off, Jess. In fact, sorry, before I carry on with
What
what
is
I'm
he
about
good
to say, I've left this on there for time. Big up Rambadam. Apologies. I don't understand Arsenal's method. It's like they only do groundwork during the actual windows and they look like they're standing still. I disagree, but I can't say that that's wrong based on what we're seeing. But for me, it's like he's so unpretty dribbling. I could no, it's just no, like it's just no, like I'm just not on it. Like I'm all I can say is prove me wrong, innit? Prove me wrong. Once you sign for the club, I'll give you an opportunity. What I would say, Mikel Arteta, I'm not defending the Cronkies, but when people sit here and say he's not been backed, you're spending 50 million when there's an air of pressure to deliver next season on
Yeah.
unproven talent. And fair enough. If you've done everything you needed to do to improve our depth and 11 and you want some project players, great stuff, do it. I don't really want to play games in the attack. I wouldn't even mind if you got a young defender to flirt with and develop. I don't really want to play games. I don't, we banter all the time. I love Martinelli, but at the end of the day, I don't know if you're going to do the thing. I actually think people are quite harsh on Trossard. I don't know if you're going to be able to do it. I only really believe in Bukayo Saka and Ethan Wanyeri with a small asterisk on Kai Havertz and Marino. That's not enough if you want to win champs. That's not enough if you want to
Yeah.
win Prems.
I
It's,
mean,
it's, it's
I think
nonsense.
I think what's like, when you look at like a team like Man City, we've already always said that they have backups that cost them like 50 million. Remember, like we used to say that like a lot.
Now we
This
do.
this is not it though. You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, it's 50 million, but is he actually good? Because I've seen people say like, oh, if you want to compete, then you'll be spending 50 million on backups. And I'm like, yeah, but this guy is just like I just
Not
cannot
the
say
thing, man.
without any I don't know if he's good. Like, I don't think he is. Like, I don't know. Maybe if he
I'm sure
wasn't
it
in
was
that
you, Jess.
blue kit,
Go on, go on.
maybe if he was coming straight from PSV, I'd feel different. Because I do like Bakayoko, and I think they have some similar qualities, but
It would be cheaper. Grab him.
yeah, I don't get
I'm
it.
not. I think you said it as well. I can't remember the stream, but you said it. You was like, when we sign players, there's a lot of the time you're kind of squinting to find
Yeah,
positives or something around him. Like, I don't think he's bad necessarily, but there's too much squinting and unanswered questions. Is he as bad as we're two questions in one? Is he as
yeah.
bad as we're actually making out? Are we coping because we don't want the player? And is it the case that he's 50 million, like rather than anything?
I think there's several different things. It's if he came in after the other things, we'd be okay with it. or
Mm.
we'd be able to rationalize it a little bit more. I won't say okay, but I'll say we'd be able to rationalize it a little bit more. I think it's also the fee attached to it, not because it's our money, but because we know that traditionally when we spend a lot on a player, something else doesn't get done. Then it's the Chelsea of it all and the impact on, like, okay, we're taking one of their leftovers, a player that they don't want. They're closing the
Helping them
gap
balance
on
the
us.
books.
And then what are they going to use that money for? So there's all of those things before we even get to whether or not Madueke is a good player or not, or what he can do for us. I think there's just too much, other things. But yeah, I, yeah, it's, could we have not got somebody that's like young and up and coming without this blue
Bro, 50 million
agenda?
gets you them dons at Monaco. Like Monaco got a couple of these players
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
could
yeah,
do
yeah.
with.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I really would have preferred, like, Akliouche or somebody like that,
I'm happy you said his name.
or
I can't pronounce it, but yeah, him. Who's
or
you speaking of?
even Malik Fofana from Lyon. There's other players that we could have gotten, but if our I don't want to say Arteta just in general, but, like, if Arsenal can find a Prem proven player, especially hanging around at Chelsea, they'll go after it, and it's just like, all right, I think this is gonna my gut is telling me he's gonna be underwhelming and we're gonna see him more than we want to. But when's the last time that we brought in a player like this where there's been a lot of kind of like, oh my gosh, is he gonna be good enough or not? And they've really outperformed expectation. I haven't really seen that ever.
Probably Ramsdale. I wouldn't even say to a degree Kai Havertz, but probably Ramsdale, as you said that. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, well, back-to-back relegations and that. The one thing I would say to Madueke
Mm.
is I think where Arsenal fans are divided, we've got a lot of division in that. You're the one person which I think people were saying give Ramsdale a chance, give Havertz a chance. Everybody's onto you, like purely the same fans that are just
Yeah.
keeping it football, not going over the top. Nobody wants this. And if they do want it, it's not at 50 million, which all I can say is Arteta, show us why you're the manager and why we're just chatting shit on YouTube. I'm not on this. I can't see the upside beyond you being a body.
Yeah. I mean, he's just not somebody that I'm just so surprised that this is the direction in which we've gone with in this important window. Every window is important, but after the last window in January, it's kind of like, this is what we're doing. Like, come on, and I can kind of overlook the, you know, attitude problems that they're talking about because I understand that, like, we don't always get the full picture and sometimes players get, tagged with these labels and it's not actually the truth or it's the environment. It's just, do we have to do this? And is he actually going to make us any better? And I can't say definitively that he doesn't do anything but fill in that Raheem Sterling position. And as bad as Raheem Sterling was, I can't necessarily say that I think Nani is going to add like just so much more. I
Why
don't
do we
know.
even need to replace that as well? Because Sterling's role was non-existent. It was like the Reece Nelson role, really. Like you're not really involved. That's
Yeah,
what I mean. We're clutching.
I think because Saka got maybe the injury, maybe that
Yeah.
scared the shit out of Arsenal, which it should have. I think obviously, sometimes injuries are, they're just unfortunate, but I think it's been in the post for a while that maybe we've been using Saka like a bar of soap and losing somebody like that and then not being able to replicate even simple patterns up front maybe scared them. And so maybe it's a protection thing, but Arsenal want to make sure that they have a player that doesn't mean that they have to move a 17-year-old out of their preferred position to cover, because that's essentially what ended up happening. Arteta didn't trust Sterling enough, and so he ended up needing to put Ethan there. And Ethan
I'd
is
rather him get the minutes.
I'd rather him get the minutes as well, but we don't know what those conversations have looked like, so
True.
we don't know if maybe the conversation with his agent and Ethan was, we like the minutes, but we wanted in his preferred position. Because there was at a certain point, Ethan was obviously doing amazing, but you could tell that he's just not a winger. So maybe there's a little bit of that. But again, there are just other players that you could have gone after. Maybe it's the wages with Madueke as well. It's like 50,000 pounds a week or something like that. I don't know, but he's just not good, So I think that's what, he's not good. He may not be bad, but he ain't
It's not
good.
the answer.
So what? This is just so confusing. So
No, I think you're right, man. Like, and that's the thing. I could see him put deputizing as a false nine. I get it. If this was 30 million and it was a body, great stuff. But like, this is a signing, and I don't know how you feel. Yeah, this is a signing that tells me potentially there's not a pressure to deliver serious trophies. Now, granted, I'm jumping the gun a bit. I don't know what else we're gonna do in the market, but if it's all about the potential of tomorrow, like imagine a world where I know the Sesko stuff is kind of dead right now, but imagine you had Sesko and Madueke. That doesn't fill me with
woo,
goosebumps. That doesn't tell me about getting over the line. That doesn't tell me it's sink or swim. I actually
yeah.
feel sorry for every player that comes into this club in the summer because expectations on Gyökeres, expectations on Madueke. I believe Zubamendi will do it, but there's fireworks, so we'll have to see. I've left this question up here for a minute. Just would you be happy with Madueke, Eze, and Gyökeres?
Um, um, happy.
That's the three attackers.
Yeah, I mean, yes, with an asterisk, on it, I feel, because I am over the moon with the idea of Gyökeres and Eze, you know? And if you just tacked on a Madueke, it's almost like it's not there. It's like, all right, whatever, but I do think that, as much as because you know how I feel about Eze. I think people overthink things quite a bit.
Million
I don't
percent.
I don't think that he's like a traditional winger, but do I think he'd be dead out on the wing for us? No, he's a good player. Like, of course, he'll do well for us on the wing, even if that's not his natural position. But do I still want an actual winger? Yes. Maybe I'm just being greedy, but I guess I'd be happy with an asterisk, you know. Madueke is a body. I don't know. He just
You know what? Let me be fair.
convincing.
I'd be. I'd have to say I'd be happy in it. The only reason I wouldn't say I was happy is because we flirted with Rodrigo, but Madueke would be a body. Gyökeres, I'm gassed about. Everything you said about Eze, spot on. I don't
Yeah,
know if Arteta on a consistent basis would want Eze and Miles Lewis Skelly on that side because they're both inverting. But I don't know how everyone else feels, but because of this Madueke thing, I
yeah.
now need you to get Eze even more. Whether Eze is
Oh,
going to be the long
absolutely.
term left, exactly. Like he's better than what we've got. He's probably better off the right than this guy. I need Eze. At least that tells me it's a statement, isn't it? Because right now, in my opinion, Martinelli's still starting off the left, give or take with Trossard, which is not an improvement.
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, that ends up being like maybe the downer of that is as a like according to reports, we never really know with Mikel what he's really thinking, but you know, he wants him to play as an attacking mid at Arsenal, which is the perfect thing, for him. We've talked about this for so long. We need that profile in midfield, like we need air. Seriously. Um, but do I believe Arteta is going to start him on the wing consistently? No. So then that means Martinelli is going to be starting. So how much have we upgraded? No offense to Martinelli, but I think we went into this window wanting an upgrade, So yeah, that's probably the only thing. We've lifted the level of the squad, but there's still one gaping hole there. I do think Trossard might go though. I do think Trossard might go. Um, I don't know what that necessarily means, but he's not going to stick around to be third choice in every position that he plays, is he? So, oh
See?
my goodness.
I gotta ask you, like, you throw in a couple of. To be fair, Marquinhos, I think that was more of a club signing. Trossard's kind of worked out. Like, what is it with Mikel Arteta and
That's
attackers?
disgusting. Um,
It's not nice reading still.
what is this? I do not recognize my club. Um, it's just,
Stinky, man.
it's just smells. And I think Arteta being to a certain extent gifted Martinelli and Saka maybe made him feel like it wasn't something that he needed to prioritize, but we went 2 summers too over. Like, how it's like maybe the first time that we challenged, it wasn't so obvious, but then the next season and the next season it became even more obvious, and so we've kind of outlived it. We've
Facts.
kind of squeezed all the juice out of it as we could, and so we're now overdrafted. Now we need like almost like an overhaul, because now you have players that were performing well or not performing well, so now you need to maybe replace them when you kind of just needed maybe a striker before. So this is just not good enough for a top team. I remember saying at the end of the last summer window that our attack was probably, if I'm being kind, sixth best attack, and I
What
do
in the
not feel.
league?
Yeah, yeah. I did think so. Individual
Liverpool are better
quality,
than us. City's better
individual
than us.
quality wise, it was bad.
Newcastle better than us. Brentford's last year was better than us. I'm trying to think of all the teams.
I think Brighton's is better than ours too, at least from a depth perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, Spurs. I can't lie. Spurs is looking like it's going to be better than ours. You know,
Yeah,
especially on
Spurs.
top of Weiser and Kudus and whatever they've got, and they.
Um,
Oh man,
this is what I'm saying. I'm like, our midfield and our defense have kept us afloat. And Arteta's coaching, like that's the weird thing about Arteta's coaching is it gets us close, but the decisions off the pitch, attacking wise, keep us from getting over the line. And so it's now these Madueke signings or sideways signings. You need to go get Gyökeres, you need to get Eze, and I still think people are going to be really disappointed if we don't end up getting a left wing. But you need to get at least 2 top quality attackers in the door, and that does not include this young man, unfortunately.
as somebody said there, well said, Jess. Do you think Arsenal could do what they did with Tomiyasu to Jesus? Obviously, Tommy's contract got ripped up.
No, I don't think it'll happen with Jesus. I think Arteta really does respect Jesus and will sell him normally, either in January or next summer. We won't get a lot for him, but I just don't think that that's something. Arteta has a long history with Gabriel Jesus, and I do think that there's something else going on with Tomiyasu outside of football. So,
Sure.
no,
What makes you think that?
I just it's a gut feeling, and I just, I don't know. There's just something there. And then Hand of
Homesickness.
Arsenal had said, like, be careful about the way you speak about Tommy because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And yeah, I just don't think Arsenal
But
would
no
be
one ain't saying nothing bad about Tommy. I wanted to give him another year, but
Yeah, no,
it is
I
what
mean,
it is.
like, I think in terms of, like, making it seem like he just doesn't wanna be available or he just is, like, just I think at
Anyone
a
who says
certain
that's a
point,
dickhead,
people
man.
were just acting like he was just injured for the sake of being injured, and the amount of time that he's been away in Japan and, like, not really around the team even though he's been injured makes me just feel like maybe there was something else going on. I know he lost his mom, there's just a lot going on,
Swear down.
so yeah, he did, he lost his mom.
R.I.P. man.
Yeah, so yeah, there's just a lot, going on with him. So I don't think the same thing will happen with Gabriel Jesus. In fact, I think there'll be a fire in the belly PR kind of push around September when he's
One
actually,
last dance, man.
So yeah, I think Arteta really respects Jesus and will maybe not give him another chance per se, but he won't be axed out, if that makes sense.
He's probably
So
a better option. Jesus is probably a better option than Noni Madueke. I
yeah,
wanted to ask you something. At this moment in time, obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing. As you said earlier, it's the 10th of July. I'm not saying I want either player, yeah, but you've got Noni Madueke, you've got Nicholas Jackson. Is Nicholas Jackson a better option? I know it's. I'm
for what?
asking. I'm asking. Like you got Madueke, you got Nicholas Jackson. Like you have to take one of the shit dons. I'm leaning towards Jackson, At least you get Gyökeres. There's a striker there. You can play off the left. I can see more of an avenue than Madueke.
Mm-mm. It's do you it's like no, like I don't know. It just do you want to get ran over by a bus or do you want somebody to push me over a cliff? Like, I mean,
Why are you getting so graphic?
it's to me it's the same thing. It's just come on. Do I want a headache or do I want a stomach ache? Like, I don't know, so to me there's no difference, but um I don't like Nico Jackson at
How
all.
many goals Nicholas Jackson get last year, though? At least there's a method to the madness with him.
I don't like Nico Jackson at all. I don't like Nani either, but I mean, I don't
Listen,
know, man. You're
Jackson, if you
asking
got
me for
double
like
figures,
really bad options.
24 goals and 10 assists in 65 appearances in the Premier League. That's not bad. It's not bad from Nicholas. Let me see what else you got. What did you get in the?
Copium,
Oh,
bro.
yeah, he got 10 goals in. Yeah, forget that. Yeah, Jess is right still. Yeah, bullshit. You're actually bullshit. Forget all of that. What do you think? On a serious note, yeah, like me personally, I think everybody's allowed an opinion. I think it's a bit mad to do the hashtag thing, especially if you're a grown woman or a grown man. Definitely doing petitions not to sign a football is crazy. I know social media isn't real life, yeah, but going in the man's DMs and getting at him and saying he's rubbish and all of this, I think it's too much because these are the God forbid, but if he was to take his own life, these are the same people that will say, "Oh, be careful about mental health and etc." At the end of the day, my man is a human. And I saw one of your tweets where you said something like, Madueke is on social media, so he might have seen it. But like, what do you make of this? Because for me, it's gone too far now.
Oh, 100%. I think, it started maybe with Ramsdale. And then I know we saw that like Ben White had spoken about it in the All or Nothing,
Mm.
how the Arsenal fans made it known that they didn't want him here. We know Raya's gone through it. We know Havertz has gone through it. And now it has, I think the emotions around so many failed seasons has gotten to people's heads. And this is just one step too far. Now, I think people are
Doing too much.
conflating criticizing and not wanting a signing with the abuse. The abuse is never okay. And I think this to me is a level of abuse that I don't like. It's not going straight to him, but this is too far. The hashtag is too far. Hashtags like that should be utilized for really serious things. At the end of the day, it's just football. Like, come on. And then going into his DMs or encouraging people to, do things, to speak to him in a way like it's just, to me, it's just not right. Now,
Makes you want to sign him, and you want him to bang now.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's the worst part about making a signing like this is that if you're the type of person that's like, well, once he puts on the shirt, then I'm going to back him, you get abuse because it's like, now you're accepting mediocrity. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? As soon as he puts on the shirt, I need to want him to do well.
You want
I
him to
need
do well. You
that.
praise and critique him fairly. Like, that's all you can
Yeah,
ask for.
100%. And that's why I'm like, I don't agree with trying to conflate the overreaction to it that's going on into the abuse category as just everybody's just overreacting, because you do deserve to have a reaction to a signing like this, just not abuse. But equally, I don't want to catch abuse because I don't want a player to be bad when he signs for us, because that feels unnatural as well. So I've never seen a player be so universally unwanted, and I wish the club would maybe not make signings just for us, but would take heed of that, because Arteta is going to be in press conferences asking to give Noni love and TLC like he did with Havertz. And I'm like, if you just don't sign players like this, we'll back it. Like, how many times do you need to sign a Chelsea player to know that we don't like that? Like, just stop doing it. But they don't do anything for us. One thing about Arsenal we know for sure is they do not care about what we think. They do not care
They're gonna do what they're
whatsoever.
gonna do.
100%. I mean, do you think that the club should look at how fans kind of, because remember when Man United was looking at buying an Altovich, and because of the reaction, they pulled out of discussions? Do you think that that's something that Arsenal should look to do, or should they just power ahead with what they want to do?
I mean, you got to judge the sentiment. You got to see what the climate's like and stuff. But then at the same time, as you said rightly there, Arsenal show